What is going on, guys? My name is 4G. So today I wanted to make a video going over something that hasn't been released into the game for a very long time, and I think that is an absolute shame. I think that this particular item is in need of returning, and it doesn't make any sense why it was locked to a previous chapter, and that is the Throwback Axe, or the OG default pickaxe from way back in Chapter 1. Now, originally this released back on November 4th, 2020, and it was released alongside the return of the OG defaults. They released the OG defaults into the Fortnite item shop for the low cost of 800 V-Bucks each, or you could get them, of course, in a bundle, and it would be a little bit cheaper if you did it like that. But either way, the point is, they released it as a tribute to Chapter 1, pretty much. So this pickaxe was actually free. It was available in the item shop from that November 4th release date until January 31st, 2021, and it has not been seen since. I think that right off the bat, that needs to change. Originally, I thought this would have returned back in Season OG. I'm not exactly sure why it did not. That would have been the absolute perfect time to release it, but instead, it for some reason has been locked in time to Chapter 2 of all things. It's not like it was a Chapter 1 item that was locked in Chapter 1. No, it was a Chapter 1 item that was locked to Chapter 2. I just think that's really weird because there's probably a lot of people that played during Chapter 1 and they maybe came back recently for the brand new OG mode. And this would be awesome to have as a nostalgic item because, of course, everybody at one point, if you started in Chapter 1, anytime beyond that, of course, it's not exactly the same thing, but anytime in Chapter 1, if you started, you were an OG default and you used this pickaxe, okay? That happened at some point in your time playing this game. So it is something that we can all relate to is my point, all right? So the fact that this is locked to a time that has no relation to Chapter 1 makes no sense to me. Of course, also, this was released during a Marvel season, the very first Marvel season. Crazy that there's been multiple of them, but either way, the very first Marvel season, and I know a lot of people like that season. I'm not going to talk about that in this particular video. That's not what I'm going over. But there's probably a lot of people that didn't have an interest in Fortnite during that season because they aren't a fan of Marvel. I know it seems like a crazy thing to say, but not everyone likes to see Marvel in Fortnite all the time, okay? But either way, the point is, maybe people didn't play during that time. Maybe you just needed a break. I mean, I know I do that with other games all the time. I mean, Fortnite, you know, I got to stay up to date with what's going on, but when it comes to other games, I will take breaks. I will take breaks from the game after I get burnt out for a while. I'll miss a couple seasons. I don't really care that much. I mean, I do and I don't, because on one hand, I don't like missing out on things like battle passes and stuff like that. But I mean, if it's a season that doesn't have anything I really like in a battle pass, for example, I'll skip out on that. For other games, for Fortnite, doesn't matter. I have to get every battle pass at this point. You know, it's just how it's been for the last 7 years. So basically, what I'm admitting to is the fact that the FOMO manipulation has worked upon me. But anyways, the Throwback Pickaxe is something that I think that it would fit absolutely perfectly. I'm surprised they didn't drop it, at least with the OG mode when they released it with Chapter 1 Season 1 back in December 2024. I think that they could have easily done that. They did bring back the defaults recently, not that recent. It wasn't any time when the OG mode was out. It was in November of 2024, so about a month before the OG mode released. I'm not exactly sure why they have never brought back this pickaxe. Also, I want to make it very clear for anybody who thinks that this is exclusive or you don't want it to return because it hasn't released in 4 years, so you want it to be some sort of rare item or whatever the case may be. This has never been listed as exclusive. This has never been listed as anything of the sort, and even if it was, it would have an OG style and it would still probably be able to release, just like OG battle passes might be able to release again, but with an OG style. I think that that is the best way you can bring back exclusive things. When it comes to this, though, this is not exclusive. This does not deserve an OG style whatsoever. They never claimed it was exclusive. It was just the offer of it being free that was limited time. That is really it. I'm surprised they haven't brought it back. I think if they do bring it back, it'll most likely cost V-Bucks. It being free was probably just a one-time thing, but if they were to ever bring it back, it would probably cost 800 V-Bucks or something, 1200 V-Bucks. I don't know, whatever they want to charge for it, right? I think that would be completely fair. They released it for free at one point. I think it's one thing to bring it back and it costs V-Bucks now when it used to be free. It's a totally different thing to just leave it in the past and never bring it back, especially with something that is as iconic as that. I mean, you can have the entire default skin set now. You can have all the original defaults, but you can't have the pickaxe if you missed out on it in Chapter 2. I just don't think that that's a great idea. I hope they do return, and I hope that they stop doing things like this, if I'm being completely real. Like I said, it's one thing to have a free offer, to have it for free for a period of time. It's another thing to just get rid of it, and that was the only way you could ever get access to it. I think that's pretty dumb, especially for something as iconic as this. We went from this being the most common pickaxe to one of the most rare pickaxes in the game, which doesn't really make sense if we're being completely real. It doesn't make much sense. I think the only pickaxes that should be rare, in my personal opinion, are things that come with actual exclusives, like, for example, the Galaxy pickaxe, which ironically, is just a recolored version of the default pickaxe, but with a galaxy theme on it. That's probably one of the only things I would say. I mean, I'm sure that, you know, I get a whole video talking about the galaxy skin coming up soon, don't you worry, because there's been some information about that, the idea of that potentially returning in some form. We'll have to talk about that later, though. But I'm just saying, that's really the only reskin, and it's an exclusive. There's no real reskins. I guess there is, actually. There probably is. I just can't think of any. But I don't know. The point is, it doesn't matter. You shouldn't need a reskin for one of the most iconic pickaxes in the game. Everyone started as a default. I mean, for example, I started as a default all the way until December 2017. I went about 2 months just playing defaults because back in that day, most people didn't just immediately spend money on games like this, okay? Nowadays, that's completely different. A brand new game that's live service and has an item shop with skins and stuff comes out, people will be buying skins from it day one, all right? That didn't happen back in the day. Back in 2017, 2018, that was an unheard of thing to do, okay? Nobody was buying a bunch of microtransactions on day one. You actually had to play the game for a while, and they actually had to basically earn your money for the most part. Not everyone, of course, but most people really went that way. And I know because most people were default all the way until the end of chapter 1, or like towards the end of chapter 1, you would always see defaults. Nowadays, you don't necessarily see that anymore, which is kind of sad, but that's also probably because there's a lot of free skins that they release over time, and the game is old, so people get those skins over time. But either way, the OG defaults still look way better than any of the new ones, in my personal opinion. So yeah, basically, I just want the OG mode to be as authentic as possible. We already have inconsistencies when it comes to the OG mode not being 100% with how it was back in the day. I don't know, very minor things like the movement that they're not going to change at this point. I want to make it very clear, I'm talking about chapter 4 movement that they had in season OG. That's the kind of movement I think we should have in the OG mode, where it has the same animations, the normal running, not the extra sprint, just the regular running animation that we've had all this time, and you just auto sprint. That should be how it is in the OG mode, but then you should also be able to do your extra sprint, your sliding, your mantling, all that stuff. And yeah, sure, it wouldn't be 100% authentic when it comes to that, but it kind of has to be if we're talking about zero build, for an example. And also, I just think it does make the game a little bit better in my personal opinion, but I just think that the animations themselves are what needed to be changed. I think season OG movement was absolutely perfect. But anyways, things like that won't change probably. That's what I'm trying to say. But things that could change are bringing back items like this, bringing back the OG battle passes, which I believe that they will do at some point. I really do. It just doesn't make sense. I've already made a bunch of videos on that if you want to go check those videos out talking about the battle pass stuff. But yeah, I think that it makes a lot of sense for them to bring this back, especially right now during the OG mode. Surprised they haven't done it by now. So we'll have to see. Hopefully they, maybe they just forgot about it. You know, there's so many different skins in the game. Maybe they just forgot about it at this point, right? I don't know. But if they do bring it back, I don't believe it'll be free. I think it will cost V-Bucks. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. But what do you guys think about this? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. I would love to hear what you guys have to say. And if you guys enjoyed this video, a like would be greatly appreciated. If you're new here and you like videos like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day.